Good evening, everybody. David Paul with you in the KH11 Weather Center. Tim Pandages here as well. It's team weather coverage. When you see two of us, you know there's something coming.
Yeah, but we got some time.
Well, we got overnight tonight.
Yeah.
But tomorrow morning it could get a little bumpy, and I would urge you just to watch us on TV tomorrow morning. We're on the air 4:30 to 7. You know, your commute, that's bad enough as it is, could be impacted by rain and thunderstorms, and so that's the deal. It's coming in tomorrow morning. And the setup begins today with temperatures that warmed up, but not too terribly bad.
I mean, this is just a treat.
Yeah.
The last couple days, I mean, to see 70s and 80s, we went on a stretch
Right.
the whole month of May pretty much that we were well above average.
Show it.
It's not just here, it's everywhere in Texas. I mean, 76 in Del Rio.
It's 58 in Amarillo.
That's just beautiful because it's not going to last very long, but enjoy it while it does. Look at May so
Right.
far. I mean, each day was well above average. We should be in like the mid to upper 80s. We had a stretch of 90-degree days that started on the 12th and didn't end until the 21st. So there's a lot of heat.
13, almost 14 days of 90-degree plus weather. Yeah. Enough is enough. So after those storms rolled in Sunday morning, we got a break. Today has been gorgeous, but things are going to change in a hurry into tomorrow morning. We've got 2 rounds of storms. Tomorrow morning is the first of 2. You know, all types of severe weather are on the table. But Tim, I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of it. Like, it's not going to be widespread, but isolated spots where they get a gust of wind that could do some damage.
Right, and especially for the first round, we're looking at something that'll swing on through called a MCS, or a mesoscale convective system. We love acronyms in the meteorology community, so we shorten it on up, and this is basically a cluster of storms that's already rotating.
Yeah.
So some of those cells in that overall rotation could have some gusty winds, could have some hail, or maybe an isolated tornado.
A little bit of twist sometimes is all it takes. So maybe an isolated tornado tomorrow morning. And then we will tease this. After a stormy week, big improvements for your holiday weekend. That's going to be nice.
It's looking really good. Great, looks like great beach weather.
Yeah.
For this weekend.
Yes, Galveston. Okay, so here's the setup this evening. The storms are beginning to develop off to our west. But it's really going to be, we're going to have to wait a little bit. We have to wait until there's a disturbance right in here, and that will be the one that makes the corner, comes up the coast, and gets in here as we head into tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and that's like our area of development that we've been watching. We've had clusters of storms kind of develop in there and then move out to the east, moving through Laredo, up through San Antonio. Lots of lightning with this, and it's also spawned a severe thunderstorm watch here in these areas too for that potential of these strong storms.
And that one storm out ahead, we're kind of wondering if it's going to hold on, this one right here, and will it be able to get into our western counties tonight? A lot of lightning and thunder with that. It looks like it's weakening a little bit over the past hour.
And you can see what we were talking about. You can see the spin already in that cell, kind of pivoting along I-10 through Gonzales.
Right there,
Yeah,
a little bit of a
there you
spin there. So that's why the tornado threat, although it's low, it's certainly on the table.
And this is an hour loop, so you can even see from that hour long, it does look to be weakening a little bit.
Yeah.
It's also taking advantage of the daytime heating.
Right.
You know, we're losing that now, so it's moving into an environment that's slightly more stable.
And so computer modeling has been fairly consistent with going ahead and like weakening that and having this first little spot here not impact us. In fact, here's a look at future track. Theirs initiated really well. So maybe we end up with a sprinkle in Brenham as we head toward 10:30 tonight, but that looks to be the worst of it.
Right, and that dissipates, but then our focus goes to what's going on down here.
That's our spot. And so as it comes up the coast, it's going to interact with an upper level low. And so if you watch carefully, watch how this, and just leave it for a moment, and we'll just draw. But here's what you're going to see. Line of storms here, and then it begins to pivot. It pivots as it moves through. That's an indication that we've got some rotation, a little bit of counterclockwise rotation in the atmosphere. And so not only gusty winds, heavy rain, but maybe an isolated tornado.
Right, and then watch as the models play out, it does exactly that. There's that line lifting on through. So eventually it'll swing through the coastal areas first, kind of moving in a backwards motion from what we're used to, and then lifting north towards I-10 and then out of our area by early afternoon.
So that's round 1, tomorrow morning through about 1 o'clock.
Yeah, that lifts out. We see maybe a lingering shower behind this. This model is notorious for kind of lingering moisture, so probably won't be happening, but that's round 1. The threats that we're looking at here, as we mentioned, with damaging winds seems to be the priority here. 55, 60 mile an hour gusts, isolated though.
Yeah, I think we're not talking about widespread, just some spots getting the severe storms. Maybe some large hail. When I say large, maybe quarter size.
Yeah, not huge.
We're not talking about supercells in the plains. Tornadoes, you know, it's a low threat, but it's there, as we've mentioned, and then flooding. I think it's a relatively low threat. You mentioned earlier that we don't have a whole lot of soil moisture content, but we could see rainfall rates that are heavy enough to cause brief street flooding.
Right. And the storm threat timeline for our 2 rounds, so we just talked about round 1, which is tomorrow morning. Then we get a little lull, and then round 2, which looks to be a little more widespread because this one is associated with a sweeping cold front. We get that whole atmosphere to be lifted, widespread showers and storms, heavy downpours, and then Thursday, less humid.
That's going to be a real treat. But we got to get through Wednesday. And as Tim mentioned, this is going to be a line of storms and I think a much more widespread, perhaps straight line wind damage. Now, before we get to that, Randy Klein,
there we go.
President of Digital Media here at KHOU, is standing off camera. Do you have any good questions, comments for us to talk?
I think a lot you've answered. A lot were, let's see, some people were asking about flooding.
So just to answer the flood threat, the flood threat is not zero, but it's low. I think if we get flooding Tuesday morning, tomorrow morning, it will be isolated street ponding. Just be careful, expect a little slower commute, but I'm not expecting any type of bayou flooding tomorrow.
Okay. And then Janie is asking which of the 2 days is going to be worse, Tuesday or Wednesday?
I'd say Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's going to be more widespread on Wednesday because we'll have a front that'll impact the whole area.
And this, in case you didn't hear President Randy, Janie was asking which day is worse, Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
What Tim said, Wednesday morning's probably a little bit worse.
Yeah,
let's take a look at it.
Yeah, let's go through it here. So this is the tail end of our first round exiting, right? So here comes the cold front from the northwest by Tuesday night. It starts to impact our northern zones around midnight into the early morning hours. Widespread lifts, so widespread showers and thunderstorms. Straight line wind damage likely a threat here as that whole line bows and sags south.
Yeah.
And then by 4 p.m., I think earlier than that, it'll be out of here.
I think really it was looking like a little after lunchtime that exits the area. But Wednesday morning from pre-dawn to midday, that line of storms is going to move through. That's going to be a soaker, and models have also suggested that's when we'll get our heaviest rain.
Absolutely.
And that's when I think if we're going to see flash flooding, and I think really the threat is street flooding, it would be Wednesday morning. That would be a much more of a bigger mess. So if you have a doctor appointment Wednesday morning, if you got kids, you got to get back to school, Wednesday morning is really the morning that they may need to wait and not go to the bus stop in the morning. But again, we're on the air at 4:30, so we'll walk you through both mornings tomorrow and Wednesday morning.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the rain threats that we're having here. Yeah, we're still in a drought. We got some rain Sunday, early Sunday morning. That maybe put a little bit of a dent, but we're going to likely see a lot more in the coming 48 hours. Our first chance, again, is tomorrow morning. But more widespread, heavier rain, you got that 90% chance on Wednesday. So here's the excessive rainfall outlook. We show the Storm Prediction Center outlook for storm threat, how severe they would be, 1 through 5. So we've also got another kind of scenario that will play out is a level 4 level system here for flood potential. And the yellow shaded areas are areas of 15%. The chance that we could exceed the guidance for flash flood warnings, which is 2 inches per hour. I just went in a complete circle there trying to explain what that was.
You did right. It's 2 inches per hour. That's our baseline flash flood requirement, rainfall rate of 2 inches per hour. That's because, so the gutters on your street, the gutters on the road out here, they are designed in general to be able to take care of a rainfall rate of 2 inches per hour. Anything just a little bit above that, and they can't handle it, but that very quickly causes roads to pond and get high water on them. So that's why we mentioned the 2 inch per hour rainfall rate as critical.
And this is just for tomorrow. We'll likely see this continue into the day on Wednesday as well. So why are we going to see so much rain out of this particular system, right? So we're getting lift, and when you're lifting an atmosphere that's very, very saturated, we're getting tropical moisture fed in on a southerly wind eventually as that system comes in, especially on Wednesday. And what this is, what you're looking at here is PWATS, or precipitable water. Again, another acronym. And what this is you take the air from where we are here at the surface, and go all the way up to the top of the atmosphere, and you compress it all the way down.
Squeeze it out.
Squeeze it out, and you see how much moisture you get out of it. When you're starting to see these greens and oranges, those are PWAT values, when you squeeze that entire column down, about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of moisture. So these storms are able to use that excessive amount of moisture and precipitate.
Yeah.
And drive those rain totals up.
Especially when you see lightning on the radar, which we'll be tracking. When you see lightning, it indicates convection up and down. Those are the ones that are utilizing that entire vertical column. and those are the ones that could be causing those 2-inch per hour rainfall rates on the flash flood.
And this is tomorrow morning. We'll likely see it continue because with a cold front coming in from the northwest, you're going to have that southerly pump continuing to push in that very moist air.
So rain totals, all said and done through Wednesday, widespread 2 to 4 inches of rain. Some spots could end up with 5 to 6 inches of rain. Those are the spots that could see at least street ponding. So we will watch for that. Randy, I see you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we've got a few more questions. A lot of people want to know specifics of their neighborhood, but general questions. What are the temperatures for Tuesday and Wednesday?
So, we're probably looking at 60s in the morning with the rain, like upper 60s, and then temperatures probably hanging on at near 70 or no warmer than that through midday with the clouds hanging around, the rain-cooled air. And then maybe, depending on how much sun comes out, we might make the mid to upper 70s.
Yeah.
But we're talking about temperatures well below normal. Normal high is 87, 88 this time of the year. So anything in the 70s is beautiful. Good question. As far as your specific spot where you live, in both of these events, it really looks like it's going to be widespread enough. So there's not that much of a difference between Galveston or Huntsville. Some storm systems do set up with a significant difference, but not in this one. So all the numbers that Tim and I are giving you really apply the potential for all neighborhoods across southeast Texas, Huntsville to Galveston, Brenham to Liberty.
Okay. And then I think you hit on it a second ago, but hail, chances of hail.
Yeah, and I think both days there's a hail threat, but not a large one.
Yeah, we're not looking at large golf ball size or anything like that. Maybe, as David said, a 1/4 inch size hail at best if we get some of these really strong to severe storms.
Yeah, I think maybe tomorrow the individual cells could be the ones that produce some hail. Because I know you're thinking about, do I need to park my car under a cover? I mean, if you can, do it, but it's not the biggest hail threat that I've seen. And again, this kind of tells the story. The severe weather threat's a 2 out of 5. It's not like it's a 4 or a 5 out of 5.
Right, and that's the good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you, Randy. Okay, so that's tomorrow, and then we go into Wednesday, and it shifts. This will be the line coming through. So really, everybody gets a severe threat. I guess the model suggests that maybe it'll be stronger near the coast.
And a stronger wind threat, too, because there's so many straight line winds all associated as it pushes through.
That's a great point. As those linear lines of storms come through, quite often the winds across the bay and the coast get dangerously strong. We'll probably see some marine advisories as well.
Yeah, so certainly Wednesday, we were talking about that being a little more widespread of an event, something to look forward to. Not really look forward to, or be prepared for, I guess.
And then, I think our P wants, this is the next, this is the one I wanted to show you. This is when things actually get good. So after Wednesday, the drier air, that's going to feel good.
Just imagine what it's going to feel like.
Yeah, so we will have much cooler, I don't want to say cooler, it will be cooler, but much drier, much lower humidity for the end of the week as we go into the Memorial Day weekend. The setup looks very, very nice. So here's the deal. That's the update for now. We got our questions in. Thank you very much. At 10 o'clock, the models we're showing for the precipitation are, for tomorrow in particular, are these rapid refresh models. So they're running right now. So we'll have updated computer models on the TV side, on KHOU 11 News at 10 o'clock. Tim and I will both be there to break it down. And we'll also reveal what the weekend forecast looks like, and I think you're going to like it.
Oh, yeah.
So thanks for joining us. We'll see you at 10 o'clock for our next live update.